Hey everyone, it's Charlene. Thank you so much for joining me today. For a fun change of pace, I've decided to make some fun fold cards using pattern paper. I'm using the new Let's Party paper pad from Honeybee Stamps. This is 6 inches by 8.5 inches. It has all of these beautiful birthday themed and celebration themed papers. You can see here they are absolutely gorgeous, and I've created a template that I'm going to share with you, showing you how to create 6 A2 sized fun fold cards. Now, all of these coordinate really well together. You can see the back side here works really well, so let's get started. We're going to do 2 different sets of cuts. One set is going to happen on 6 of the papers, and one set will happen on just the remaining 1 paper. We'll start with the single sheet that you're going to do a set of cuts to. And you're going to begin by cutting a 1/2 inch off of the edge. Then we'll cut this piece to 2 3/4 inches. Now we have 2 pieces that are 2 3/4 inch wide. And then we're going to cut these in the other direction at 2 3/4 inches. That way we'll have 2 3/4 inch squares. Now we have 6 2 3/4 inch squares. I'll set these aside. For the second set of cuts, we're going to do the cuts to the remaining 6 sheets of paper. I'll show you one. We're going to cut this first sheet to 5 1/4 inches. Then we'll rotate the sheet and we'll cut it at 4 inches. Next, we'll cut from the remainder a 3-inch piece. So we end up with 2 pieces. The first is 3 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and the second is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. Now I'll repeat this for the remaining pattern papers. To create the bases for your cards, you'll want to cut 6 pieces of solid cardstock. I'm using 80-pound Neenah, but you could use any colored cardstock for this. You'll start by cutting 3 1/2 inches off of the edge of your paper. Now you're left with an 8 1/2 inch sheet that is 7 1/2 inches tall. You're going to want to cut this to 5 1/2 inches. This creates a piece that is 5 1/2 inches by 7 1/2 inches. So you'll set this one aside, and now you can cut your second piece. For this piece, we just need to cut 1/2 inch off of it. Now this piece will be 3 inches by 7 inches. So when you're finished, you should have 6 pieces that are 5 1/2 inches by 7 1/2 inches and 6 pieces that are 3 inches by 7 inches. I finished cutting all of my solid cardstock, so I have my large and small pieces here. With the remaining scraps, you can either cut out some circles and stamp some sentiments on there like shown in the template, but I'm going to hang on to these and use them to stamp and die cut from for my sentiments. Now we need to score, so I'm going to take the larger of the 2 solid cardstock pieces, and I'm going to score all of these at 3 1/4 inch. Now I'll show you in a moment how these are going to fold, but I'll take the smaller pieces, and all of these I am going to score these at 3 inches. You can do this either with a scoreboard like I have here, or you could do it with a ruler and a bone folder, whatever works well for you. Now I can take the larger of the 2 pieces and fold it on the score line, and it's going to have the smaller flap coming in from the left. I'll do the same thing for all the smaller pieces, and I'll fold these along the score line, only this time I'm going to have this smaller flap coming in from the right and going towards the left. Before I show you how to assemble a card, I just want to point out that if you're using multiple different pieces of pattern paper, you can vary which paper you use on each card. So I could take this pattern paper here and combine it with this larger piece of pattern paper, and then have this smaller piece to go with it. So I'll go through and sort these how I want to combine them. Once I have them all sorted, now I can put them together and I can go through assembly style and add these to my card bases that I've created with the solid color cardstock. I like to do this assembly line. So first I'll take the smaller pattern paper square and I'm going to put it right here on the smaller flap of the small piece of solid cardstock. I'll add my glue to the back and then just make sure that I get it centered on that flap so that I have 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. For the next largest piece, I'm going to put it on the left hand flap of the larger solid piece of cardstock. And same thing, I'm going to glue this down, just ensuring that I have 1/8 of an inch border going all the way around. Lastly, I can take the largest piece of pattern paper and glue it to the inside of the larger piece of solid cardstock, ensuring again that I have that nice white border. And now I can take the smaller of my two pieces, I'm going to glue it inside the larger of the two pieces. Now you could glue this anywhere along that edge that you like. I'm going to glue it so that it is centered along that edge. So I'm going to add some glue to the back part where the pattern paper is not at. And then I can turn my larger piece and line it up on my glass mat so I can figure out where the center is before I adhere this piece right to the edge. Again, this is just a personal preference. It does not have to be centered. This white cardstock is going to create a spot for you to write your personal message on the inside of the card. So now I'll go through and I will finish assembling all the rest of the cards in the same way. Once I've finished assembling them, I have these 6 fun fold cards that are now ready to decorate and to add some sentiments to. There are several different sentiments that I'm using that are from the new release from Honey Bee Stamps that will work really well. I have the big bold birthday. I have the You're So Extra. These are stamps and dies. The big birthday word die, as well as the mini messages birthday, and these coordinate with the mini messages dies. For my first card, I created the sentiment from the big birthday word die. I've cut it from some brushed silver cardstock, and for the shadow, I've cut that from vellum. So I'll put these two together. Now when I'm applying the glue to the back of the vellum, I'm just going to make sure and go along the areas where the word die is attached. That way my glue doesn't show through from the front of the vellum once I've adhered it to the front of my card. This pattern paper pad coordinates really well with the Let's Party gem stickers and the Celebration pearl stickers. Using the vellum for that shadow layer helps the word die stand out from the pattern paper. I've added a few gems from the Let's Party gem stickers just for an added little bit of bling. For my second card, I created the sentiment with the You're So Extra stamps and dies. You can see I put it here on an angle so that way it looks like some natural script writing. And then I added a nice sentiment here on the inside along with some of those Let's Party gem stickers. For the next 3 cards, I used the big bold birthday stamps and dies as well as some of the Let's Party gem stickers. I love these big bold birthday sentiments. They are just so perfect for cards. For this one here, you can see I put a little 2-inch vellum circle back behind there just to help break up the sentiment from that pattern paper. And then for this one, which, oh my gosh, I love this paper, so pretty. I went ahead and I just brought in a square of some light blue cardstock and I glued that right on top of the pattern paper square because I really wanted the sentiment to pop right here. For our last card to dress things up, I'm going to use the Lovely Layers Cupcakes and More. I'm going to create a cupcake here that's layered to put on the front of my card. So I'll add my cupcake here to the center using some liquid glue. And then I can add my Make-A-Wish sentiment from the big bold birthday right over the top of my cupcake. I added a few of the Let's Party gem stickers just to finish off this cute card. Here are all 6 of the fun fold cards that I created using the 6-inch by 8.5-inch pattern paper from Honey Bee Stamps. I do have a link down below in the description to the template that I created for these cards so you can have that guide to use at home. I hope that you picked up some tips and tricks today. Please be sure to like and subscribe so that you'll know about future videos here on the Honey Bee Stamps YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful day.